Dan, how you doing?
Good, Paulie. How are you?
Doing well. Good to have you back for another meet and greet, Facebook Live.
Thanks for hosting. Thanks for all you're doing.
And thank you for jumping on board and all you're doing, mate. Now that we've given each other a nice old-fashioned massage, let's continue on with the topic at hand. Which, for those of you who haven't, jumped on and had a listen and watch to what it is that we're doing here, we're really just looking retrospectively at a bunch of questions that have been asked to us as, I suppose, the heads of Hero and all the challenges the dads have had in the past. And we're drawing on our own experiences about how we've been able to navigate these challenges ourselves, whether it's in our own personal lives or through helping other fathers who we've guided overcome certain challenges as well. So the question that we have today is, I'll just get it up on board so we can actually have a good squiz at it. It's my biggest struggle is staying strong and making the commitment to lose weight and be healthy. It's easy for me to always start strong, then fall off the wagon 2 or 3 weeks later. Now, this is something that, is oh so familiar when it comes to, starting anything and then trying to find the fire to keep moving. I feel like motivation can only, motivation's that starting injection that people can really keep them going for, but only for a certain period of time. What are your thoughts about that, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt motivation wanes from time to time. It's never just always on. So firstly, just to know that in my experience has been really valuable, because then I just don't have to wait for the motivation to kick in to do something. Sometimes when I'm tired, lethargic, bored, whatever other thoughts and emotions are arising, it just always feels natural to just continue on one moment at a time, one step at a time, one day at a time, and just checking in with what my commitments are. And that's always served me really well. And something else that is always helpful is just having a coach. And there are many things I've attempted in my life, and one of them was to do a half Ironman. And I could just see for myself to train for a long period. It just required some support, some programming, someone to encourage me when there were kind of dips in energy and motivation. So just to have someone I could kind of fall back on, check in from time to time, and just know, like, the motivation, whatever it is day to day, the program kind of sets itself up to support me to know how to move forward. And that just meant for me, over a 6-month period of training day in, day out, I knew the result that I wanted was to complete a half Ironman. And regardless of the challenges I faced with motivation and energy and commitment, I knew what the goal was. And it was just taking a moment to moment, step by step approach, and just having excellent support around me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And there was a well-defined destination. You knew where you needed to be at the date that you needed to be at it. And having that predetermined paved path for you to be able to get there, it's awesome. I was actually just listening to an interview with Steve Monaghetti, and, he was talking about his success in his career. And he just said, I know why I was successful at what I did, because I just showed up at every single time, and I knew exactly what I needed to do. I needed to clock my 200 Ks every week or whatever it was, and solid effort. And but his body was able to continue to do that over a 15-year period. But ultimately, he knew where his destination was, and he knew what he had to do, and he did it.
Well, I just love the phrase, just show up. I think it's so important to know that that's all that's required. And just by showing up, naturally the energy comes. It's usually in thinking, oh, I can't be bothered, I don't want to show up, I don't want to be there, and we stop ourselves from doing it. But actually, it's okay to feel like, we don't want to be there, but still show up. So a lot of this is mindset based. And we all probably know that sometimes we can't be bothered doing lots of things, but we do it because we know that's going to serve our goals, our motivations, and just the life that we want to live. So I think that's just really powerful to just show up.
Just show up. And I think, you know, part of this just showing up thing, philosophy can be really just chunking down your overarching goal into bite-sized morsels that you can really consume in a tangible fashion, you know. And we talk about this a lot in the group, and that's about, you know, if your ultimate goal is to run a half marathon and, you know, you haven't gotten off the couch in a few months, then maybe the first step is putting on your shoes. And whilst that might seem like a meaningless and arbitrary task, the act of putting on those shoes on every day for a week is going to develop consistency and confidence to be able to take that first step towards the first K, and so on and so forth until boom, you're doing a half Ironman. And yeah, I think there's something in that.
Yeah, I think celebrating putting on your shoes can't be underestimated or undervalued. I think it's really essential, just small accomplishments along the way and just building from there. So yeah, I love how you put that together.
You know, you training for that half Ironman competition really reminded me of my training for my competitive weightlifting as well, because, you know, being an outsider looking into a competitive sport, like, you know, putting one foot in front of the other, like marathon running or Olympic weightlifting, people can see that as a pretty simplistic, you know, sport. It's really just, for me, in my situation, it was lifting a bar to my chest and then my shoulders, and then lifting it above my head or lifting it straight above my shoulders. Like, why do these competitive weightlifters from countries who have been doing it while they were in nappies need a coach to be able to execute a lift that takes less than a second to complete? And, you know, my coach in weightlifting always told me that 80% of weightlifting is between years. And to be able to drum that in, and I firmly believe that is extended to every aspect of life. And if you're trying to get fit and healthy in this aspect of life, then what's between your ears has such an enormous filtration and impact on how you're going to actually execute those tasks to get you to the destination.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. That was really nicely said. And I'd love to see some images of you doing some serious weightlifting.
Funnily enough, something just popped up on my Facebook. It's been 10 years since my last competitive lift, which was not that I lifted competitively that much, but it was always fun to see that. You know, another analogy is, you know, and I've used this before, it's boiling the frog. You know, if you are able to take those small steps, one step at a time, when you put a frog into a pot of boiling water, it's going to hop straight back out. But if you put it into a cold pot of water and then you slowly turn up the heat, they're going to become confident in their environment. And unfortunately for the frog, it's not going to end well. But for us, it should end well.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I think last thing I just wanted to add is this. I mean, I know in my experience, I'm just really hard on myself when I miss a day, miss a session, miss something I think I should be doing. And that's just a really hard way of kind of managing and living life. Always berating yourself when you miss something, and ultimately life gets in the way. Things are unpredictable. So it's like, put that stick that's been beating you over the head, put it down and just give yourself a break. Take a moment and reach out for support in any way that you feel is needed to stay on track, or start and then stay on track. So yeah, all the best, and wait to do this again soon.
Thanks for that, mate. And hope you guys got some value out of this chat. And yeah, thanks for the contribution, Dan.
Thanks, Paulie. Great to be with you all. I want that video posted, or that photo of you weightlifting posted.
Done. It's in the comments already.
Yeah.